What if the reason you cannot stop thinking about this person is not weakness, not habit, not loneliness, but something deeper that still lives between both of you? What if their silence is not empty at all? Stay with me, because this may explain the feeling you have carried in quiet moments, late nights, and random seconds in the middle of the day when their face enters your mind without warning. You try to focus on work. You try to move on. You laugh, talk, stay busy, and then suddenly there they are again. That does not happen for no reason. Some connections do not end when words stop. Some feelings do not fade just because distance appears. And if this person keeps returning to your thoughts, there may be a powerful reason for it. Listen closely, because what you are feeling could be more real than you have allowed yourself to believe. The person you keep thinking about may still care in ways you cannot see yet. They may be holding back, confused, afraid, or trying to understand emotions they cannot easily control. And before this ends, you may finally see why this bond still feels so alive inside you. This person stays in your mind because something about this connection still feels unfinished. Even if everything between you looks unclear from the outside, something deeper keeps pulling your attention back. It is not random. It is not just because you are having a hard day. It is not simply boredom filling empty space. There is a reason they return in the still moments, in the silence right before sleep, in the pauses when the noise of life finally drops and your heart gets room to speak. You may have told yourself many times that it is over, that enough is enough, that thinking about them serves no purpose now. You may have tried to be practical. You may have reminded yourself of the distance, the mixed signals, the silence, the confusion, the questions that never got answered. And still, they come back. Their smile, their voice, a memory, a feeling, a tiny detail that should have disappeared by now, but somehow did not. That matters. The heart does not hold on, this hard to something that meant nothing. When someone keeps rising inside you without effort, it often means the emotional story never fully reached its ending. So do not rush past that truth. Let it breathe for a moment, because the next part matters, and it may help you understand why this has been so hard to shake. You are not broken for feeling this way. You are not desperate. You are not failing because part of you still feels tied to them. Real emotional bonds do not obey simple logic. They do not vanish the second your mind decides they should. When something touches you deeply, it leaves a mark, and that mark stays until it is understood, healed, or transformed by time. That is why you can feel strong one day and pulled back into longing the next. That is why a small song, a place, a scent, or a random quiet afternoon can open the door again. The mind wants clean endings. The heart rarely gets them that easily. If something between two people was deeply felt but never clearly expressed, the inner world keeps trying to return to it. It wants to understand. It wants closure. It wants truth. And sometimes, more than anything, it wants to know whether the feeling was shared. Stay with this idea, because many people leave a connection physically while still carrying it emotionally for a very long time. Silence does not erase emotion. Distance does not prove nothing was there. Often it only proves that something became too difficult, too intense, too uncertain to handle in a simple way. So if they are still on your mind, it may be because the connection itself is still alive inside your deeper emotional world. There is also something else happening here, and this part is important. When you think about them, you are not only remembering who they are, you are also remembering who you became around them. Certain people wake up a version of you that had been sleeping for a long time. They bring out softness, hope, excitement, depth, tenderness, maybe even courage you had forgotten was still inside you. They reflect something back to you that feels deeply familiar, as if your soul recognized a home your mind could not explain. And when that reflection disappears, it can feel like losing part of yourself for a while. That is why the longing feels bigger than ordinary attraction. It is not only about missing a person, it is about missing the alive, open, meaningful version of you that existed in their presence. That kind of bond does not fade quickly. It keeps speaking through memory. It keeps showing up in dreams, in quiet thoughts, in little emotional waves you cannot fully explain. If this is touching something real in you, keep listening, because this is where many people get confused. They think they are obsessed with the other person, when in truth they are also grieving the part of themselves that felt awakened by that connection. And until that part feels seen, loved, and understood again, the heart keeps returning to the one who first stirred it awake. Many times the distance is not there because love is missing. The distance is there because fear entered the room. Fear of rejection, fear of losing control, fear of wanting too much, fear of changing a life that already feels complicated. One or both of you may have felt something real and then stepped back because the feeling itself became overwhelming. That happens more often than people admit. Not everyone knows how to move toward deep emotion with confidence. Some people freeze, some delay, some hide inside silence and call it caution. Some convince themselves they need more time, more healing, more certainty, more proof before they can step forward. And while they hesitate, the bond remains. This is why someone can care deeply and still stay distant. It looks confusing from the outside, but inside them there may be a storm of questions. What if this goes wrong? What if I hurt them? What if I am not ready? What if I cannot give them what they deserve? What if I lose them completely if I try? That kind of inner conflict creates strange behavior. It creates pauses. It creates mixed signals. It creates silence where honesty should have been. But silence is not always emptiness. Sometimes silence is overloaded feeling with nowhere safe to go. That does not mean you should wait forever. It does not mean you should stop living your life. It only means the absence of action is not always the absence of emotion, and that truth can change how you understand this whole connection. You may have sensed this already, without being able to explain it. You may have felt their energy at odd times. A sudden wave of warmth, a moment of sadness, a quiet ache, a strange pull in the middle of a normal day when nothing obvious triggered it. Maybe you brushed it aside. Maybe you told yourself it was your imagination. But strong emotional bonds often move under the surface long before they become clear in words. Human connection is not always neat. It does not always follow straight lines or obvious timelines. Some people carry love silently because they do not know what to do with it. Some keep caring from a distance because their heart is louder than their courage. And some think about you far more than you realize, yet still cannot bring themselves to cross the space between you. If this sounds familiar, then hear this clearly. You are not foolish for feeling the bond. You are not making everything up. What you feel may not tell you exactly what will happen next, but it does tell you that the connection mattered, and that matters more than you think. Keep listening, because the next truth may settle something in you. A person can hold real love and real fear at the same time. Those two forces can live in one heart together, and that is exactly why the distance can feel so painful, so confusing, and yet so strangely alive. This is why your mind returns to them when you are calm. When you are busy, distracted, and surrounded by noise, your deeper feelings stay under the surface. But when the world quiets down, the truth comes closer. Late at night, early in the morning, during a slow walk, while looking out a window, while doing something simple with your hands, your inner world finally has room to speak. And who appears there? The one who still means something, the one connected to an open chapter, the one your heart has not fully settled with. This is not always a sign that you are meant to be together forever. Let us be honest about that. Sometimes a connection remains because it came to teach you, not to stay. Sometimes it remains because there are words that were never spoken, wounds that were never named, truths that were never faced. But even then, it still matters. Even then, it still deserves respect. Do not judge yourself harshly for the thoughts. Do not force the feeling away just because it makes you uncomfortable. Notice it, learn from it, ask what it reveals. Does it show you where you still need closure? Does it show you how deeply you can love? Does it show you where you abandon yourself while waiting for someone else to be ready? This is where the connection becomes more than longing. It becomes a mirror, and once you see what it reflects, everything begins to change. A lot of people ask the same painful question. If they care, why have they not reached out? Why have they stayed quiet? Why have they kept the distance for so long? The answer is rarely simple. Love does not always move in a direct way. Some people are emotionally guarded because of old wounds. Some were taught to hide what they feel. Some are carrying pain from other relationships, old disappointments, betrayals, losses, and fears that still shape every close connection they try to build. Some feel unworthy of the love they want. Some believe they need to fix themselves first. Some are trapped between duty and desire. They look at the connection and feel its weight. They know it matters, and because it matters, they become careful, even too careful. They overthink. They wait for the perfect moment. They tell themselves they will speak when life is more stable, when they are more ready, when the risk is lower, when they feel stronger. But deep feelings do not disappear while they wait. They grow heavy. They turn into silence, hesitation, missed chances, long pauses, and invisible tension. That may be what happened here. The connection was real, but the readiness was not equal on both sides. And when readiness and feeling do not arrive together, distance takes over. If this is hitting home, stay with me. Because understanding this does not erase the pain, but it does help you stop blaming yourself for a silence that may have been born from their struggle, not your lack of worth. The hardest part is that distance can make you question your own reality. You start wondering if you imagined the bond. You wonder if you read too much into small moments. You replay conversations. You study silences. You search for signs. You try to decode what happened and why it still affects you. But people do not usually stay haunted by what was fully clear, fully closed, and fully finished. We are disturbed by what stays open. We are pulled back by what never found its ending. That is why this person comes to mind when something good happens and you want to tell them first. That is why they appear when something painful hits and your heart reaches for the comfort of the one it once trusted. It is not always about romance alone. It is about emotional meaning. Your inner world attached importance to them, and importance leaves a trace. This is also why tiny things can bring them back so quickly. A message tone that sounds similar, a familiar phrase, a street, a season, a date, a song you thought you had forgotten. Suddenly the whole emotional field returns. That does not mean you are trapped forever. It only means the bond left a deep impression, and deep impressions do not leave on command. They fade when they are honored, understood, and slowly released or renewed through truth. That process takes time, sometimes more time than the mind wants to allow. There is another truth that you need to hear very clearly. Just because you feel the bond does not mean you should disappear into it. Real connection should never demand that you abandon yourself. Yes, patience can be part of love. Yes, timing matters. Yes, fear can delay what is real. But your life still matters too. Your peace matters. Your self-respect matters. Your future does not have to pause while someone else battles emotions they are unwilling or unable to face. So if this person truly cares but remains distant, the lesson may not be to chase harder. It may be to stand still in your own worth. It may be to stop proving, stop guessing, stop carrying the whole emotional weight by yourself. Sometimes the bond is asking you to become stronger, not smaller, to become clearer, not more confused, to trust that what is real does not require you to beg for basic honesty. That is a powerful shift, because the moment you stop trying to force an answer, you begin to hear the deeper message of the connection. Maybe it is teaching you patience. Maybe it is teaching you boundaries. Maybe it is teaching you how to love without losing yourself. Maybe it is preparing you for reunion. Maybe it is preparing you for release. But either way, it is shaping you. And if you stay awake inside the process instead of drowning in it, you will come out wiser, steadier, and more deeply rooted in who you are. The person you keep thinking about may be fighting feelings they never expected to feel this strongly. That is something many people do not talk about. When emotions are light, people move quickly, they text, they flirt, they take chances, they do not think too hard about consequences. But when the feeling goes deep, people often slow down. They become aware of what could be lost. They feel the risk. They sense how much this could change them. And suddenly they are careful, hesitant, even distant. It looks cold from the outside, but inside them it may be anything but cold. It may be intense. It may be heavy. It may be full of pressure, fear, responsibility, and longing all at once. They may think of you more than they admit. They may replay your words in their head. They may imagine reaching out and then stop themselves. They may feel pulled toward you and pulled away at the same time. That push and pull can exhaust a person. It can make them choose silence simply because silence feels safer than vulnerability. If you have ever felt that they cared but held back, this may be why. Not because they felt too little, because they felt too much and did not know how to hold it well. This does not excuse endless confusion, but it does explain how deep love can hide behind distance and why the connection can remain strong even while nothing obvious is happening on the surface. And still, here is the part you cannot ignore. No matter how meaningful this bond is, clarity matters, truth matters, peace matters. You do not have to turn every thought into a promise of reunion. You do not have to make every emotional wave mean destiny. Sometimes the mind adds extra meaning because the heart is hungry for answers. So be gentle, but be honest. When they come to mind, ask yourself what rises with them. Is it warmth? Is it grief? Is it hope? Is it loneliness? Is it unresolved love? Is it the pain of not being chosen clearly? Every feeling contains information. Do not dismiss it, but do not worship it either. Let it teach you. Let it show you what still needs your attention. This balance is where healing begins. You can respect the connection without letting it control your whole life. You can admit that it mattered without turning your future into a waiting room. You can feel the pull and still choose your own dignity. That is not cold. That is mature love. And strangely, it is often when you stop chasing meaning so hard that meaning becomes clearer. The truth of a bond reveals itself best when you are grounded, not desperate. So breathe, slow down, watch what this connection brings out in you. Because whether it ends in return or release, it is still revealing something deeply important about your heart, your needs, your fears, and your ability to feel with real depth. Maybe one day, the distance closes. Maybe one day, the silence breaks and the truth finally arrives in words you can hold. Maybe they step forward when fear loosens its grip, when life becomes clearer, when they can finally meet the depth of what they feel without running from it. That happens sometimes. People do grow. Old walls do crack. Timing does change. Courage does arrive late for some hearts. But even if that day comes, it will not come because you abandoned yourself while waiting. It will come because both people became ready to meet honestly. And if that day never comes, the meaning of the connection is not erased. It still changed you. It still showed you something real. It still opened emotional rooms inside you that may shape every love that follows. Some bonds are not meant to stay in their first form. Some are meant to awaken, transform, and then gently fade into wisdom. Others return after long distance with new maturity. You cannot force which one this will be, but you can choose how you walk through it. You can choose softness without self-betrayal. You can choose hope without illusion. You can choose to honor what you felt without becoming trapped inside what has not happened yet. Stay with that, because this is where your power returns. Not in controlling the outcome, but in staying true to yourself while the outcome remains unknown. So if this person keeps living in your thoughts, do not shame yourself for it. Do not rush to call it weakness. Do not pretend it means nothing when your heart clearly knows it meant something. The connection may still be active because the emotional thread between you has not fully settled. They may care more than you know. They may be distant because they are afraid, wounded, overwhelmed, or still becoming the person who can love openly. Or the bond may remain because your own heart is still learning what this connection came to teach. Either way, your experience is real. Your emotions are not pointless. The thoughts are not random. They are signs that something touched you deeply and left an imprint. Let that truth humble you, not break you. Let it make you wiser, not smaller. And if this message found you at the exact moment you needed it, hold on to this final thought. What is meant for you will never ask you to destroy yourself to receive it. It may ask for patience. It may ask for growth. It may ask you to face your truth with courage, but it will not ask you to live forever in confusion. So keep your heart open, keep your standards strong, and keep moving forward with grace. If this bond is real, truth will reveal it in time. And if not, time will still turn this ache into understanding, and that understanding will become peace.